No, it's this. I love this idea. It's a guy trying to put his life back together, and he just gets furious and rants and writes letters to love, time, and death, and then love, time, and death respond. So it's a really that beautiful Christmas flavor was just a little touch outside of reality. So you get to deal with real subjects and real topics and real loss, but because it touches just that New York Christmas just a little bit outside of the, how excruciating it would be if you dealt with it, straight, hard, rated R, loss, So I just love going into that realm of the mystical, to be able to take a good look at real human issues.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about real. Mm-hmm. I felt it was the most real I had seen you be.
Really?
Yeah, I felt there was no filter there.
Yeah.
And I wondered, for somebody who could choose to do anything, was there something special that drove you to this?
Yeah, when I first read it, when I first read it, every once in a while you read a screenplay, and the most important thing in a movie, I guess the two most important things that I look for is, one is the universally relatable concept, right? So just at its core, when you first say it, when you say one line about it, can you connect to people? And one of the best ones I've ever had, something with I Am Legend, the last man on earth. Yeah. Security, you can keep an eye on this section right here. But it's when you just have that one thing, And with this, it was a little bit heavier, but it was a guy trying to put his life back together after an extreme loss. Right, so people can relate to that. That's an extremely relatable idea. And then I flip to the last 10 pages and the ending. It's this is a movie that has lots of twists and turns, but then even within the last 10 pages, there's still another surprise. When you can send people out of a movie theater with another surprise, historically, there's been times I've sent people out of the movie theater, and the surprise in the last 10 minutes is that the movie wasn't good, right? So you want to avoid that surprise. You want to avoid that one. But with this one, it had such an interesting turn in the end of it. It was one of the most fun screenplays I've ever read.
Why are you doing movies at all still? You're rich.
Yeah.
You could, as we say, cock up your foot and rock back.
Cock up my foot and rock back.
Yeah.
I love that.
Why,
That's just fantastic.
What is getting you out of bed to still go and do this thing?
I enjoy connecting with people and ideas, and I have a mission statement. So every year for probably the past 10 years, I've worked out a mission statement for myself. And for the last few years, the mission statement has stayed the same. And it's been improve lives, right? So when I go into something, I'm looking for how the quality of this piece could potentially improve lives. But it's all along the way. It's when you make the movie and how you're interacting with people in the process. And, the concept of improving lives runs through the center of everything I do. And then I realized that the way to improve lives is to continually improve yourself, right? So with that, every morning when I get out of the bed, I haven't fixed everything in the world yet, so there's always something to do. And in this film, I read an interesting quote for the Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. He said that good people have to get out of the bed every day and try to empty the ocean with a ladle, right? And I thought that was, I knew that was profound, and I paused for a second, and I said, all right, what the hell is a ladle, right? right? So that, I touched it on my iPad, it's ladle. Oh, it's like a big spoon, Okay.
As we
it's
say,
like a
Philly.
soup spoon, yeah. It's like a soup spoon. I was like, why are you a soup spoon? So trying to empty the ocean with a soup spoon, as the mentality of how you wake up every day to try to do good in the world. So for me, I'm really driven by continually trying to elevate my mind and elevate my spirit and care for my body and to be able to love as many people as effectively as possible with this mystery of life that I've been given.
Here we are at Facebook, and our COO, Sheryl Sandberg, she just suffered a massive loss.
Yes,
her husband
absolutely.
died. And she's writing a new book called Option B to give people, to share stories about how people have built resilience and give kind of tips on how to do it.
Yeah.
So she's using this book and the openness of our platform
Absolutely,
to
yes.
share all the time, right? Because the idea is that it may help somebody else to learn how to get through grief. And I wonder with you in this movie in particular, so as she's writing this book, she's going to that horrible, painful experience.
Absolutely.
Where did you go to for me to see what I saw in your amazing performance?
Well, what happened with me with this film? So I accepted the film, and I was really excited to take this, and I loved the idea, and I was reading it, and I gotten probably 2 weeks into my preparation for the film, and my father was diagnosed with cancer, and I was like, first it stunned me, and then it was the magical work of the universe. I could not believe that this was the film I was working on, and I was, forced to face, my father's mortality. So it was rough for about a week, and I got it together, and I decided that we would use the process of the character who was suffering a loss, and I would share my preparation with my father. And so we just started talking about love, time, and death. And it was some of the most open and powerful conversations that we'd ever had. And they gave him 6 weeks. And he lived for 4 months. So about 3 months into the 6 weeks, I go to see him one day, and he said, "Man, this shit is embarrassing." And I said, "What, Dad?" He said, "Man, you tell everybody you're going to be dead in 6 weeks. 3 months later, you still hanging around."
Missed that, Dad.
Yeah, I know, right? But it was so beautiful, and we got to a place that we were talking open and comedically and really, I think I was able to embody the ideas of the loss and also the redemptive quality of the pain. The loss is bound to joy. Like pain and suffering are bound to joy. The being able to survive something is actually a big part of being able to find that next wave of joy. You appreciate smaller things, right? Like it was so magnificent for me. My father died on November 7th. But it was so powerful for me to be cleansed of box office. Like, I don't need the box office to be huge on this film. I don't need to win any awards. I don't care. It was the film that I worked on that I was actually able to comfortably and beautifully say goodbye to my father. And I hope that this film embodies a bit of that, so other people who are experiencing things like that will be able to use it in that way, and it can potentially be helpful and help someone else. So it was powerful to be cleansed of the foolishness of the game of numbers and awards and all of that type of stuff, to actually be able to create a piece of art that legitimately I just want people to see and hope it can be helpful and transformative in their lives.
You're talking about perspective.
Perspective, absolutely. Yes.
How much does fear play into preventing us from grasping perspective, though?
Oh, no, fear is everything. Yeah, like if there was one concept that I would suggest to people to take a daily confrontation with is fear. The problem with fear is that it lies, right? So fear tells you, hey, you know, if you say that to that girl, she's going to know she has you, you know, and she'll never really be attracted to you if she knows how much you attracted to her. Don't say that. No, how we get her is when she walks by, ignore her.
Right, so
You know, it's like
pop it on your shoulder.
fear tells you dumb shit like that, right? You know, so for me, the daily confrontation with fear has become a real practice for me since about three years ago. I went skydiving in Dubai, right? And skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear, right? So I gotta stand up. I'm sorry, I gotta stand up. All right. So all your friends, what happens? You go out. Oh, sorry. I dropped my thing. Yeah. So what happens is you go out the night before and you take a drink with your friends and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah. And you go, yeah. And everybody goes, yeah. Right? And you go home by yourself. You're like, Right? You're like, well, I mean, they was drunk too. Right? So maybe they not, maybe, I mean, we don't have to go. We don't have to do it. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that, right? And you're laying there, and you have the worst night's sleep of your life, but you still have the hope that your friends were drunk, right? So you wake up the next day, and you go, down, and you say where you were going to meet, and everybody's there. You're like, oh, shit. All right, cool, right? So you get in the van, and you don't know that your friends had the same night that you had because they're pretending like they didn't. They're like, yeah, man, my uncle's a Navy SEAL, and, this is going to be great. I've been looking forward to this. And you're like, oh, my God. And your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you get there, and then you have this safety brief. And you're standing there, and the guys will tell you, well, if the chute doesn't open, what's going to happen is well, why the hell, what could happen? That the chute wouldn't open, right? So you do a thing, and what you do is your first jump, you're attached to a guy who is going, he's going to walk you out. So you go, and you get there, and there's an airplane, and nobody's stopping. Everybody's still going. So you get onto the airplane, and you're sitting there, and it's extra because you're sitting on some dude's lap, some stranger. You're sitting on his lap, and it's like, you're trying to make small talk. Yeah, man. So you be jumping with people all the time, huh? Right? So, and then you just want to make sure, you got kids, right? You got people you need to see, right? You just want to make sure he's serious, right? So you get in there. So everything's normal. So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet, and you notice there's a light. It's red and it's yellow and green, right? So right now the light's red. So then you start thinking at some point the light's going to go green, but you don't know what's going to happen, right? And you wait, and it goes yellow, and the light goes green, and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. Right? Terror. Oh, sorry, I'm spitting. Oh, sorry. No, terror, right? So you go, and then, if you were smart, you sat in the back so you don't go first, right? And then people start going out of the airplane. And you go, and the guy walks you up to the end of the thing, and you're standing, and your toes are on the edge, and you're looking out down to death. And they say, on 3. And they say, 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3, right? Right? And you go, and you fall out of the airplane, And in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience